Okay, good afternoon everybody. DK here with Mr. V Amps, and we're celebrating the history of our channel by using the Fisher-Price camcorder that we started this channel with like 7-8 years ago. Not by absolute design, but the camera that we would normally use has a dead battery right now, and it's going to be a few hours before it's able to do any filming. So anyhow, this is a Mackie ProFX22 Mixer. I was told it was making weird squealy noises, but my experience is that when you turn the on switch, it doesn't turn on. So weird squirrely noises and not turning on sounds to me probably very power supply-ish. I'm just hoping that everything isn't totally packed in here like rats, and this will be reasonable to work with. I'm not expecting this to be my vintage Peavey, but you know, we can be hopeful. Let's see about taking a look at that power supply. Okay, so here's what I've determined so far. This is the power supply. It is a switch mode. Wonderful. I'm working without a schematic here. I'm just trying to use my senses. We get, you know, like 15, minus 15 on the output, and then there's some higher voltages out there. So we have nice high voltages. But as you can see, if you look around here, I have a lot of these subboards all unplugged and disconnected, right? Because as soon as I plug it into the main connector there on the first board, it starts to make whiny noises and doesn't work so hot. So I, you know, unplugged all of the daughter boards from it, you know, just in case this thing or that thing or any of these things is drawn down the power, and it's not. Now, I just started looking around. There is yucky looking corrosion up here, and there's some down here around there, and where these pins are poking through here, I'm going to bet that's our dear friend, the electrolytic capacitor. Now, this is a complete and total guess. I haven't pulled a schematic. I've never worked on this particular model, but you know, based on what I'm seeing, obviously we have some electrolytic caps here, but it seems like right in this area there's corrosion, and where there's corrosion there might be something that leaked. I don't know, but I think we're going to have to give that board an inspection. I mean, if we can't figure this out, this thing's trash, so figure it out. Okay, so after removing about 4 billion screws and knobs and all of that stuff, we got this board out of here. Now, this is essentially a mixer on its own, and then they just expand it out with a couple extra boards, so you can just flush it out, add more channels, right? Because it's a mixer. It's the same thing, just repeated over and over again. So we're looking for something on this board that's shorted out. The power connector comes in here on the other side, obviously, and it looked like there was some corrosion kind of crap around here, so maybe there's something to do with that. Maybe it's got something to do with this Phantom 48 being shorted out, because that was on, but I don't know. Let's see what we can figure out. Okay, so anyway, this is the power supply board. I decided to tool around here. While I was playing around with this, I decided to take my little tweezers and my new little, you know, DCR tester thing, which I was already had somebody tell me it was rubbish, but I didn't believe them. I figured, you know, it's got to be worth something. So I was just sniffing around. The electrolytics were all checking out, and then I got to this one, and this is supposed to be a 10 microfarad, and it wouldn't make the meter beep. I mean, normally you clip it on a capacitor and the thing goes beep, and then it goes deet 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 deet, you know, or it beeps at you. This one wouldn't beep. This is supposed to be a 10 microfarad. It wouldn't beep, so I pulled it out, stuck it in that thing, and the thing tested less than 2 microfarads. Something is definitely wrong with that. So it was over, let's see, that was like C9. Where the frig was that? It's over in here somewhere. Anyway, let me see, where was that? Because I already replaced that, and you know, I just had one laying on the bench. But then I tested this cap right next to it. That one, again, I'm not getting anything. And I started going through all these surface mount caps. which you know, most of them you can get a registration, right? You just, you know, hook onto them and they'll go beep, and then, you know, they'll give you an ESR reading. Right, these are tantalums, I think, right? Because the little surface mount tantalums. So I started going through those. Right, and that was good. And then I started to come around in the area that this thing resided in, and there's quite a few of these. See, I get a reading there. This one I cannot get a reading on. So that tells me that C113 is probably open. If you check a resistor with these, with this thing, it'll just tell you DCR low because it's a resistor, but you know, it'll tell you if the resistor is open. So you can actually find open resistors with this thing too. But like this resistor is open, as best I can tell. This capacitor is open. Some of the capacitors up here are open. And I've checked them with my meter to see if they're open or not, and everything I'm finding, they're open. And these little stupid surface mounts, man, I'm going to be having a field day if I try to change all of those. So for my amusement, I looked up the power supply, and it is available, and it's like $62. So it's not bad, but dang, I wish I had another power supply here to just test it and see if something else downstream wasn't shorted. But it, you know, so I'm going to consult with some other folks that I discuss things with and see what they think. But I know these little DCR tester, this DCR thing, I know this isn't the end all be all, but it was actually good because I was able to sit here and start sniffing through, and all of a sudden we got to here, like here in this area, and then like on the flip side, and something is definitely wrong. You know, if I come out to the far end over here, you know, we're okay out there. But yeah, there's some of these tantalums, because I mean, this thing should be able to test a tantalum, it should be able to test all this stuff. And like this cap that I pulled out of here, you know, this is supposed to be 10 microfarad, and it won't even make it beep. And you know, that should be going beep. And so after I pulled it out, yeah, we're doing freehand camera here. See, this is old school. This is filming the way we used to film. We'll plug that in the magic tester. This is supposed to be a 10 microfarad. It says right on the outside. 1777 nanofarad. So less than two mic. That's ridiculous. Voltage loss 29%. Yeah, that thing's open. That's dying. So we got a lot of open and dying parts on there. Now my fear is if I replace the power supply, because it seems, like I say, it seems to be able to output, you know, nice higher voltages at the end, but then when you put a load on it, it starts to puke. And with all of this junk, you know, open or broken, why did it open in the first place? Is there something over there that caused it to open? You know, I don't know. So that's why these things can get shady and goofy to work on. It's a valuable mixer if it worked, or if it works. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see you next go round. We'll think about this one and then get back to you.